So, what's up, everyone? Pain Freak, the Freak Chef. Hell yeah. There's an awesome recipe, Middle Eastern meatballs. I'm doing these as little cocktail, like meatball size, like a little hors d'oeuvre type thing for New Year's Eve. So, I'm very excited about. And I decided to switch off an ingredient. The original recipe, if you go to my cookbook or you're following for my cookbook updates and all that when it comes out, my recipe originally is just for a small, medium size, like a small to medium sized onion chopped fine. And this one, since I had a bunch of green onion, the white parts of it, because I used the green part for the cheese ball that I'm making as well. I figured why not just use the white part of the onion, and it's going to work out just fine. It's still mild, so I don't have to worry about getting more of a sweeter onion than a hotter onion. But anyway, the Middle Eastern meatball recipe is very easy. If you've ever made a meatball before, this is different than an Italian meatball or just a Swedish meatball, but I call it a Middle Eastern meatball. And really, you're just making the same meatball, but just changing the flavors. What really sets this apart is the use of the cumin, cinnamon, parsley, salt, pepper, minced garlic, finely chopped onion, and of course, the regular base of any meatball is just the breadcrumb, egg, and ground beef. Now, for this, I don't want it too fatty. I want to keep the fat content down and kind of keep them a little drier than a regular meatball. So instead of ground chuck, like I would normally use to make a meatball, I'm using ground round. That means that the fat content is a lot lower, so it's a leaner cut. So you're typically going to get only about 15% fat, and it's going to be about 86% lean, meaning beef-wise versus fat content. So let's get this started. I already have one large egg slightly beaten in the bowl. To this, we're going to add our ground round. This is just 1 pound. It's a little over, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and get this into our bowl with the lightly beaten egg. And just kind of open that up a little bit, if you can see in there. Just kind of spread that open. And of course, the egg is going to start coming over the side of that, and that's just fine. Okay, so to this, we're going to start with our dry seasonings first. I'm going to come in here with our ground cumin. For 1 pound, it asks for about a teaspoon. Also a teaspoon of cinnamon. And a tablespoon of, I typically use fresh parsley if I'm going to just cook them or just brown them in the oven and then serve them. But because I'm pushing this out in increments over the course of 5 hours, I'm using dry parsley instead of fresh parsley, and it calls for 1 tablespoon. We'll go ahead and put that in there. We're going to leave that open because we may need a little more. Fresh ground black pepper and our salt. Nice generous pinch. Our 6 cloves garlic, finely chopped, almost minced. We have our small onion, which in this case, like I said in the beginning, we're using the white parts of our green onion. And I'm okay with some of the green in there because it adds a little color. Okay. Now, we have all of our ingredients in the bowl. We're going to get in here with our hands and start getting that mixed up a bit. And then we're going to slowly start adding, this is a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs plus a little more. I always like to add a little more, have some on standby in case I need it. We're going to get this kind of mashed together well. And it's still a little wet. I'm going to go ahead and add some more breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs act as a filler and a binder. The eggs also act as a binder. Also helps it from getting really too moist and pasty-like. All right, so now all of our ingredients in the meatballs are incorporated and ready to go. We have our sheet pan ready. and our oven is preheated to 450 degrees. So we're going to form these into just a little over an inch. We don't want them too big, but we don't want them really teeny tiny. We are going to brown these a little bit, just give them a quick, fast bake in the oven, kind of crisping up the outsides. We're going to start laying these out on our sheet pan. Just like that. All right, and here we are. Meatballs are all formed and ready to go. Lay them out with plenty of room between them. And off these go for a nice little browning round in the oven. And we'll check in on those. And I'm going to give them about 5 minutes until I roll them. Give them another 5 minutes. Just keep them rolling around. I want them browned on all sides so they stay nice and round, especially since we're going to finish these off in the slow cooker on about low for about 4 hours. That'll keep them kind of juicy. But again, they'll be nice and have the right consistency that I'm looking for this one. All right, so they've been in there about 10 minutes. About 5 minutes in, I gave them a little turn them over, get them brown on all sides. Did the broiler thing a little bit, speed it along, brought it back down. Now we're back on bake for 450 like we started. I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat and pull these things out. They should be done right now. They smell amazing. Oh, I wish you guys could smell them. Look at that. Oh my God. So now they have a nice brown on them, kind of seared on the outside. And these things are ready to go into our sauce in the slow cooker pot. And we're going to put the sauce together real quick. We got 4 cups of water. I started with about just a little over 3 because I'm going to use this to put the other ingredients in. And this way we mix them up all together. I also put 2 beef bouillon cubes in here. Even though the original recipe doesn't call for it, last time I did it like this, it actually worked out pretty good and added a little extra flavor. As I was opening them though, I realized that I had some of this better than bouillon, which I'm going to add to it as well. So for the sauce part of this, you need 1 of the small cans, like the 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. My little hack is I cut one lid all the way off, another one partially off. We're just going to go ahead and push that right out, just like that, and get our lid. It also helps if you warm the water up a little bit to help the ingredients dissolve. Since the meatballs are already hot, that'll help out. So we're got our tomato paste in there. We're going to need about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. 2, 3, 4. And the concentrate is fine for this. I'm going to throw some better than bouillon in here now. And for every bouillon cube, you would use 1 tablespoon of better than bouillon. Okay. There we go. We also need 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then a little bit of fresh ground pepper. You can use the fine ground pepper if you'd like. And some salt for this. You can use a pinch of kosher salt. I'm going with some of this coarse sea salt. We're going to go ahead and mix this up. Just breaking up that tomato paste a little bit and combining that better than bouillon and the cubes and all that into the water, just to let it dissolve just a little bit before we add it to our meatballs here. So we'll go ahead and add this into the meatballs. The rest of our ingredients kind of settle to the bottom, but that's okay. Off we go into the slow cooker paste, and we'll cover it. All right, we're going to do a little cleanup. We're going to move on to the next recipe. So, and finish up with some other stuff we're serving for the party.